York City, 2010, and this has been a spectacular parade so far.
Absolutely. And I keep reminding myself that 15 years ago I walked down this street with the mayor of New York, and no one showed because it wasn't in vogue in those days. And New York took the lead around the country, and it's now the largest Veterans Day parade in the country.
I think because of 9/11, clearly there's been this renewed interest that I mentioned earlier in the United States military and the role it plays in maintaining our freedoms, protecting us from harm. And I remember the feeling right after 9/11 when the first carrier pulled away after President George Bush stood on the pile, and there was that moment where somebody said, "We can't hear you," and he said, "Well, I can hear you, and the people who did this will hear from us soon enough." When the first carrier left, it must have felt that way, when we dispatched the first units in World War II after Pearl Harbor, because there was this sense that there they were. There, the military was off, ceremonially, but off to try to find who had done this and protect this nation from further attack. I think that turned the tide greatly, Paul, and how we admire and respect the military, brought the public's attention back to it.
I think it was the first time in a long time when the threat came home. And part of the motivation to send our forces abroad was retribution, not a prolonged objective in nation building at the time. It was retribution because America had received a black eye, as some of the country and western songs say. And I thought it was wonderful the way the country literally wrapped themselves around each other and embraced our military and wished them luck. And when they came home, they marched in parades that had not been seen in this country for decades. And we're seeing one today.
And a big salute to our Purple Heart recipients right here.
In this war, the Purple Heart is much more difficult to earn. They've raised the standards. In the past, oftentimes, if you were required to see medical help and assistance after a battle, by definition, you were awarded a Purple Heart. In this particular war, like all the other awards and decorations, it's much more difficult for these young men and women to earn.
Why did they raise the standards?
I think it's a pause between wars. It just, we lost touch with what the original standards were. It also, everything is different. I had the Chief of Staff of the Army reminding me that 90% of the engagements are less than platoon size. So there are no fixed battles with masses of forces. And they say that because of that, the circumstances have changed. I personally believe decorations are really an honor for a unit and an honor for a person. And the personal bonds, it's one-on-one. And if it's a squad or a division, it's still one-on-one.
Back to something we were discussing a little earlier about the role of women in the military. There was a unit when we had the World War II unit gone by. There was a unit during World War II, actually, that sort of foretold what would happen now with women flying helicopters and combat aircraft. The Women's Air Force Service Pilots was organized. And this was a group of women who were aviators. They persuaded the War Department, it was a woman named Janet Cochran, I think was they persuaded the War Department to let them take over some of the routine flying of combat aircraft, getting them from the factory to the airfields, target towing, to free up the men for combat. And some 900 and some women trained right alongside the men, learned how to fly the P-51s, the B-17s, the B-24s, every combat aircraft in World War II. And what often stunned people in far-flung military bases as they were ferrying these planes in. You'd see a P-51 come screeching into the runway, and the canopy would fly back, and the pilot would stand up, the helmet would come off, and this long, blonde, flowing hair. It was a woman at the controls, so they were ready.
Well, today, if you go to Afghanistan and Iraq, or if you go to Langstuhl, the military hospital in Germany where they medevac all the wounded, what you'll find is women flying those planes. And one of the most dangerous jobs in any war is flying a medevac chopper. And today, women are doing that.
Tuskegee Airmen, I want to just make a shout out here. I hope we have a chance to be one of those guys. When they were an extraordinary unit in the Second World War, when they finally got the P-51s, they painted the tails red. They were known as the Red Tails, and they did a terrific job knocking down enemy aircraft, escorting our heavy bombers. They were a segregated black unit, and we'll have a chance to talk about them a little later. U-Haul is honoring all of those who serve in the military. They've got over 50 team members from companies across the tri-state. U-Haul was founded in 1945 to serve the needs States for families. When they came back from the war, there was a lot of mobility in this country as we built the country up. And the U-Haul trailer was invented, basically, to serve their needs, give them one-way rentals for the trailers. We have a feature on that now.
Well, U-Haul's been a tremendous supporter of veterans across the country. They've been very supportive of this parade. Every year we've held it, U-Haul's been there and been one we can count on from the start.
Hello, I'm Mike Wyram, Vice President, U-Haul International for Dealer Marketing Programs. I'm also a veteran, 22 years with the United States Air Force. You've probably seen some of our U-Haul trucks, trailers, towing equipment on the streets of your hometown or while driving across America. We've probably even helped you and your family move to a new post or assignment. What you didn't know probably was that U-Haul was founded by a veteran and his wife, a Navy man returning after World War II in 1945. And ever since, we've been serving the needs of the GIs of America. Today, we offer priority hiring status to all veterans, our small way of saying thank you for your service. We know at this time, many of you are far from home, serving overseas in harm's way. We want you to know that your family, your friends, and us at U-Haul are thinking of you, and we appreciate you protecting our freedoms. And to all veterans who have served and returned, we'd like to say, welcome home, and thank you for your service.
We'll be back with the Medal of Honor recipients after this message.